Okay, let's unpack this. We're used to thinking about careers as, climbing a ladder, a very defined ladder inside a company. But what happens when that ladder just kind of dissolves and it's replaced by this dynamic map of what people can do? Our mission today is a deep dive into how organizations are leveraging AI, specifically these specialized chatbots, and this powerful architecture underneath them called a skills graph.
And it's really about changing how they manage their own talent
Exactly.
to drive agility.
And this is, you should know, this is way more than just another HR tech upgrade. It's a strategic pivot.
A pivot? How so?
Well, for years, companies have struggled because they have all this talent inside, but they can't see it. Not beyond a static job title on an org chart.
So this is a response to that.
It's a direct response, yeah. A response to information overload, to the pace of change. It's forcing everyone to finally adopt a real skills-first approach and use the people they already have. So let's establish that strategic case then. Why is internal mobility suddenly like the holy grail? It just sounds incredibly labor-intensive on the surface.
The case is really driven by two things: risk and retention.
Okay.
I mean, think about external hiring. It's so time-consuming, it's expensive, and studies always show this high rate of misfit risk. You're bringing in an unknown.
An unknown quantity, right.
Yeah.
Whereas internal movement taps into a pool you already know and trust.
You've already validated them. The employee knows the culture, so you lower that onboarding friction to almost zero.
And the human element has to be huge here. I mean, if I feel like my current role is a dead end, my eyes are immediately going to drift outside the company.
That's exactly. When people feel underutilized or, boxed in, turnover just skyrockets. Internal movement is a massive engagement lever.
So is there data to back this up?
Oh, the data is undeniable. We are seeing reports that AI platforms built just for this, for surfacing these opportunities, they are raising internal movement by up to 30%.
30%. That's an astronomical figure, especially when you think about the saved recruitment costs.
It's huge.
But I have to ask the critical question. We've had internal job boards for decades. What makes this 30% gain even possible? Is it just speed, or is there something deeper going on?
It's the shift. It's moving from reactive searching, you go look for a job, to proactive quantified matching.
And that's powered by the tech.
All powered by the foundational tech. And to do it, you have to completely stop defining jobs by titles and start defining them by capability. You have to commit to that skills-first model.
Which relies entirely on this skills graph.
100%.
All right, let's define this thing, because it really is the engine room of this whole transformation. What exactly is a skills graph?
Well, it sounds a little sci-fi, I know.
A little bit, yeah.
But it's really a sophisticated data structure. A networked representation of skills, think of it less like a spreadsheet and more like a massive spiderweb. It models not just what a skill is, but its relationships to every other skill in the organization.
So it knows how they connect.
Exactly. It identifies skills that are adjacent or complementary, or even skills that can be a substitute for another one.
Okay, can you give us a quick example of those relationships? Because that sounds like where the real power is.
Sure. So an adjacent skill might be going from, say, Python coding to machine learning algorithm design. They're right next to each other on that development path.
Makes sense.
A complementary skill could be pairing deep financial analysis with advanced data visualization. They make each other stronger.
And substitute.
A substitute skill, and this is crucial for matching, might be the system realizing that your proficiency in the programming language R can be substituted for Python for certain statistical jobs. The system understands that nuance.
That makes perfect sense. So this model, this graph, lets the system continuously map three crucial things in real time. What are those three mapping functions?
So its core job is matching potential to need. First, it maps an employee's existing skills. And this is key. The data isn't just self-reported.
Right.
It's gleaned from performance data, project history, certifications, learning systems. It builds a full 360-degree picture.
That sounds like a big data collection effort, but I guess it ensures accuracy.
It has to. Second, the graph maps the required skills for open roles. And again, these are derived from business strategy, from real-time project needs, not just some job description that was written 5 years ago and never updated.
And the third one, this is what separates it from just filling a job, right? The growth pathway.
That is the game changer. The graph uses those adjacency links we talked about to identify what we call stretch opportunities.
Into opportunities.
Yeah. It can surface candidates who are maybe 70% ready, and then it can pinpoint the exact training needed to cover that last 30%. That's real capability building.
Okay, so we get the tech. But let's zoom in on the experience. How does this massive system actually feel when I, as an employee, interact with it? It's all done through a chatbot, you
Yep.
said.
Through natural language.
Right.
And it has to meet you where you are, so it's integrated into Slack or Teams or whatever you use every day.
So what's step one?
Step one is employee engagement. Just a natural chat interaction where the system asks about your interests, your career goals.
And then it immediately starts learning, which I guess is step two, skills profile update.
Exactly. As you chat, the graph engine is using that info, plus all the background data, to infer your competencies and highlight knowledge gaps in real time. That's why we call it a living profile.
And then comes the big moment. Step three, opportunity matching. The proactive suggestion.
This is the core value prop.
Yeah.
The chatbot doesn't just list jobs, it quantifies the fit.
So it's not just, you might like this job.
No, it's based on your profile, you are a 70% match for the lead data analyst role in Project Phoenix. And here are the 3 missing skills, C, D, and E, which you could get by taking this specific training module. It removes all the desk work.
I love that. The score and the clear path. But what if the match is, not that close? That brings us to step 4, guidance and pathway. It has to be a coach, not just a recruiter.
It has to be. If the fit is 50%, the chatbot acts as your development guide. It suggests really specific, actionable steps.
Like what?
Like which micro-assignments you could take on, or temporary project rotations to build that experience, or even who to reach out to for mentorship. It flips development from reactive to hyper-personalized.
And finally, step 5 is application support. So once I feel ready, it cuts through the red tape.
It smooths the entire transition. It connects you to the hiring manager. It might recommend a peer mentor who's made a similar move. It'll help schedule the conversation. It makes mobility a clear, guided pathway, not a bureaucratic maze.
Looking at the dual benefits here, the shift is just enormous. For the employee, it's all about visibility, empowerment. I can see what I'm qualified for today and how to get there tomorrow.
Which is a powerful loyalty builder.
And for the organization.
The payoff is agility and cost savings. When strategy pivots, you can immediately redeploy your people based on their real capabilities instead of wasting months on external searches.
You maximize the investment you've already made in them.
Exactly.
But this can't work unless the design is perfect. The sources we looked at highlight some critical design factors. Let's start with the big one, trust.
Trust is everything. The system fails if it's seen as a black box. So the first must-have is transparency and trust.
It has to show its work.
It has to show its work. If it recommends role X, it has to explain why. You have skills A and B, you scored 70%, you lack C, here's the path. That validates the whole process.
And the logic is only as good as what you feed it. Garbage in, garbage out.
Which is the second critical point, data hygiene and taxonomy. The skills graph demands an immaculate foundation. This is where most companies fall down.
What does that look like in practice?
Well, if half your company lists their skill as project management and the other half lists PMP certified, the graph sees 2 totally different skills. The integrity of the whole system just fractures. Standardization is absolutely non-negotiable.
That's a huge technical hurdle. But there's the human element, too. We're not automating away managers, are we?
No, not at all. We're augmenting them. The third design parameter is the human in the loop. The AI is fantastic at surfacing candidates, but human judgment is still vital.
So a manager still has to sign off.
A manager, a mentor, the employee themselves, they have to validate the match to check for contextual fit, the soft skills, the team dynamic, things only a human can really evaluate.
And that focus has to be on capability, not on things that can lead to bias.
That's the fourth point. The system has to focus purely on measurable skills. And by doing that, it can inherently bypass biases around, say, credentials or demographics. It makes the criteria objective.
Okay, so despite the huge promise, this just sounds like a corporate headache to implement. What are the immediate roadblocks companies are hitting right now?
There are 2 main categories. The first is technical debt. So many companies are saddled with these legacy HR systems.
Ooh, platform.
The old platforms. They're built on relational databases, which are structured, they're hierarchical, they are just not built to handle the fluid, nonlinear relationships of a graph database. You
Yeah.
can't just bolt a skills graph onto a 20-year-old HR system.
I'm trying to fit a square peg in a round hole.
Exactly. And the second major roadblock is employee and managerial friction.
Friction.
Yeah. We already mentioned that data hygiene relies on employees updating their profiles, which they, often forget to do. But the bigger issue is talent hoarding.
Ah, so managers who don't want to let their best people go.
Precisely. The manager is measured on their team's performance. So they are often incredibly resistant to letting their best person move to another internal role, even if the system says they're a perfect match.
So the system works, but the culture breaks it.
That friction point is very real. It requires serious change management from the top down, mandating that managers release their high potential people. It's a culture problem, not just a tech problem.
So if that's the current headache, what does the near future look like? How are these tools going to evolve?
The chatbots are going to move beyond just being matchmakers. They're going to become much deeper predictive career coaches, much more granular.
Granular in what way?
Well, it'll look like proactive suggestions for lateral moves or identifying short-term, high-impact micro gigs.
What grow gigs?
Yeah, project rotations that are specifically designed to fill in those adjacency gaps we talked about. So instead of a whole new job, the system might recommend a 3-month project rotation to pick up a critical future skill.
I'm guessing this is all going to be driven by pulling in external data.
Absolutely. The cutting edge here is integrating external labor market data. That helps organizations anticipate what skills they'll need in 3 to 5 years and then proactively guide their current employees toward those skills today.
Keeping the whole workforce relevant.
It ensures your internal workforce doesn't become obsolete.
What a compelling vision. I mean, designing an AI chatbot on this kind of skills graph foundation, it fundamentally shifts mobility from a reactive process, just filling an empty chair.
To a strategic engine for continuous capability building.
It gives employees a personalized path and gives the organization the agility it needs to survive.
It lets them tap into the talent they already have. And for organizations that can navigate the technical debt and that managerial friction, they'll be the ones that effectively future-proof their entire talent pipeline.
And that leads us to our final provocative thought for you to chew on. Organizations adopting this model are betting on continuous adaptation. But given the blistering speed at which external skills and market demands change, and the huge cost of keeping that data clean, how frequently will that internal skills graph need to be completely overhauled, not just updated, but structurally re-engineered, just to stay relevant? Is the necessity of this continuous costly adaptation the biggest HR challenge of the next decade?